Special welcome to today's podcast where we discuss everything technology and people development. Today, I am super excited to have Dr. Fredah Banda join me all the way from Lusaka, Zambia. Fredah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me here today.
Fredah, let's start the conversation by just having you introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell us who you are and just the career journey that you have walked to get to where you are today.
Thanks. So I am Dr. Fredah Banda. I am a software engineer, passionate about computer science, automation, robotics, AI, machine learning. I did my undergrad in computer science at the University of Zambia, and I was the first lady to graduate with a distinction in computer science. So this opened a lot of opportunities for me. I worked as a software developer for a local company here for an international company in Zambia. And then I moved to Germany and I worked at the headquarters of Mercedes-Benz for 6 months, came back to Zambia. And then I moved to Airtel, which is one of our biggest mobile service providers, where I was managing the Airtel Money, which is a mobile money service. Following that, I got the Rhodes Scholarship. So they pick 2 Zambians every year on the Rhodes Scholarship. So I was picked and I went to study in Oxford. I started with my master's and I later transitioned into the PhD. So currently have a PhD in computer science. My experience has been that of experimentation, trying different things, trying to find solutions to different problems. I did teach in the Oxford and Cambridge summer school since 2016. So I have that experience as well, teaching computer science, programming in Python, robotics, cybersecurity, and a bit of web development as well. Currently, I am back in Zambia. I am working as a director for AI and digital architecture at MindAid, where we're using AI to match clients with therapists based on how the client is feeling and also the therapist's preferences, suggesting who would be the best therapist for a client. And then outside of my software engineering, mostly, I have also founded a company, Blex Global, and we have a product, which is our water. So we are making water from air. We do this by filtering the air, cooling the water, filtering the air first, and cooling the air to harvest the water out, and then filtering the water. So this water is safe to drink because it's distilled water, and it's safe for cooking and other processes. So we're currently trying to see how we could expand our operations and scale up, as we are currently on our second prototype. But that's me in a nutshell.
Excellent. Such a colorful career you've had already. So how did you get involved with AI? Where did it all start? How did the love for AI begin?
I've always loved computers. And from a young age, would learn how to type, navigate things. And so I have experienced the transition in technology from the black and white screens, basically, to where we are now, computers before Windows and Microsoft, to where we are now. But during my PhD, I was dealing with a lot of big data. And so I learned Python for that. And I was doing a lot of analysis with the data. And so afterwards, I decided, with all the craze that's going on AI, and because I already know Python, because that's the main language that you use in AI and machine learning, I just, out of curiosity, thought it'd be nice to get to understand this better. So I've been playing with some models just to see how they learn, training them, seeing what predictions they make. It's been exciting. And also because of that, I'm trying to see if I can get roles in that field as well to get me more experience. And so far, it's been great.
Awesome. I love that experimentation mindset that you have going on there. That's where real growth happens, right? When we experiment.
Yeah, they say you can only, if you're only going to learn if you do it, you have to do it. So even in my classes when I'm teaching the kids, I'll explain something simple like a variable. This is a variable, this is how you define it and whatever. And then I give them some time. You've got 5 minutes. I want you to define your own variable. And then I have to check and make sure. And so I find that I encourage my students to learn by doing. And so even for myself, when I'm trying to learn something new, I try to be as practical as possible, experiment and try, see that it works. Instead of just sitting and watching videos and thinking you've learned, it's good to actually try it out. If you get errors, that's also part of the learning process. How you fix those errors, helps you understand better exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's get into the conversation by providing an overview of what artificial intelligence is. When people think of artificial intelligence, they are thinking, it's something that is beyond, their scope of thinking, or something that is abstract. So let's begin by just breaking it down into everyday language. What is artificial intelligence, and what are the various product or solutions or applications that are used today in the world that are powered by artificial intelligence?
Okay, so AI, meaning artificial intelligence, is a field of computer science that refers to computers that are able to do tasks that would require human intelligence. So they're capable of learning, reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. AI systems, algorithms, or what you'd call methods, data and computational power to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. There's a wide range of technologies which are under AI, including machine learning, which is adaptive AI because it's able to improve its outcomes over time. Then there's natural language processing. This is what you get with your virtual assistants and stuff like that. And then there's also computer vision, which is currently being used a lot in diagnosis of diseases like cancer, even malaria. That was an interesting case of malaria, for you to be able to automate a lot of these tasks that would originally take a lot of time. Today's world has a lot of applications. The one which is most famous and most loved by most people is ChatGPT, but there are many others. It's integrated into various aspects of our daily lives, such as virtual assistants, that's Siri and Alexa, recommendation systems. You see these in Netflix, Amazon. Basically, based on your data and your patterns, it's able to recommend something that you would like, or based on your data and people who are similar to you in the data, it can suggest things that you might like based on those recommendations. You also have navigation apps like Google Maps. We use this a lot for our navigation, and almost every app now that has maybe car hailing, delivery kind of things, they use Google Maps APIs because it helps you to be able to pick the location, pick the destination, and get there safely. And my favorite use case is in healthcare, because I feel like we could do a lot better in healthcare, especially here in Africa. So there are a lot of uses in healthcare for disease diagnosis, also just assessing and alerting individuals if something is wrong. For example, I have a friend who has a heart problem, and so whenever their heart gets into an irregular beat, it would give a notice and tell them, no, you need to go see the doctor, or you need to take your medicine, and it starts recording exactly what's happening. And so a lot of these things are things that are happening on your behalf without you having to manually do it, and that's great. In finance, we have a lot of fintech companies. They use this for fraud detection, so just to identify potential fraudulent transactions, and also for credit scoring, for you to be able to know if this client would be a good creditor, are they going to pay back, what's the likelihood of them paying back, how much can you lend to them, if you're going to give a loan, what are the terms of that loan. So dynamically, these statistics are created in real time based on data. And one of my favorite for luxurious purposes and my hope is autonomous vehicles. I in my summer schools, I always get the kids to make, after they learn Python, and then I'll teach them robotics, and they'll program these cars and make them self-driving cars using Python. So you're taking note of the different sensors to understand the environment, and then use that information to decide, do you move forward, do you go backwards, do you turn left, do you turn right, do you turn just a little bit, do you turn a lot? So all of that kind of stuff is very applicable, and there's many more use cases. Especially in Africa, we have a growing increase in interest in AI and AI systems, which is very exciting.
Wonderful, wonderful. So one of the solutions that we offer as well is coding and robotics. And yeah, I just love to see those little faces light up once they've been able to program a self-driving car, and they sit there and they see, the car make the turns, and that follow the route that it has been programmed. So always very, very exciting. So you cannot talk about AI without diving into ethical conversation, because that is the big one at the moment. When it comes to ethics and AI, what are your views around that?
Okay, so I'm happy that you've asked that question because this is something we're discussing yesterday. So I've just learned a few new things about AI and ethics.
Yeah.
So when you're developing systems, you need to create systems that are not going to do harm to people or to the environment. And so you have to be very careful in how the systems are designed. Now, the interesting thing about AI is that it is defined by rules. So you set rules, and then it's trained using data. So what we noticed in a lot of these that were being developed is that the data was very skewed, not proper representation. So, for example, if you train it with a lot of data, I'll just give it one quick example. Like the way ChatGPT is a generative AI, it can basically predict what the next sentence would be. You see this also when you're doing your Google searches. But basically, someone tried one of them and said, a white man was, and then it says, a businessman, family man, company owner. And then tried a black man was, and then it said, a pimp for 15 years. And so you find that based on the data that has been used to train the system, these AI systems can tend to have some kind of bias. And we see this even like in the US, where a lot of people were being arrested wrongfully and being accused of things because apparently AI systems have a hard time recognizing black faces because they were trained on a lot of white faces. And so a friend of mine who I met in Oxford, Joy Bulamwani, she was trying to have her face recognized, and it would say no face detected, no face, until she got a white mask and put it on. And then it was like, oh, there's a face, and then for other systems, it would classify her as a man, a black man. And so when you're creating these systems, you have to think about the end result. And so it's very important to have a balanced representation of your data to help with that. So because of this poor recognition of faces, you'll find that maybe there's someone who's being looked for, maybe for murder or theft or something like that, and then they'll arrest the wrong person because the face recognition has identified this person as the one when it's actually somebody else. So we have to be very careful in how we design the systems, and we also have to do constant monitoring because these systems learn, they're constantly learning. So we have to constantly monitor to see if our systems are responsible. We have to check if they are fair, and also just to make sure that we're accountable for the systems that we are creating.
You raise a very pertinent issue when it comes to artificial intelligence, the issue of bias. I think that's one of the biggest threats that we sit with, especially in the African context. And for us, that's why we are advocating for as many Africans as possible to get involved in this field. Because if we leave this AI to be developed by people who don't look like us or who don't have a cultural context that we have, chances of creating solutions that are very biased or that do not serve us well are very, very high. And for me, I was just on a podcast recording now with another gentleman from Kenya who is also developing AI solutions for Africa by Africa. And that's the conversation we're having, to say Africa cannot play a catch-up game. We need to be proactive. And, these conversations need to start now. We can't let, the conversation escalate and go on, and then we start playing catch-up games, without having things like AI strategies or AI frameworks at national level, because, people are already using AI solutions, but for as long as there's no proactivity, these things are actually going to work to our disadvantage. And hence, I am just very passionate about everybody doing their bit in terms of contributing to creating the Africa that we want, especially within, the AI space. So in your view, what do you think? What should we be doing to actually get as many people into this space as possible? Because, as you know, we don't have good representation within this field.
I think the first thing is to get rid of the fear. A lot of people have fear. They fear AI without really understanding what it is. And so helping them first understand what AI is and how they've actually been using it for a long time and they don't even realize it, can also just open their minds to see, oh, okay, so I can think of a new solution I can create. Also, since I've developed interest in AI, I was thinking, okay, I need to get some experience. And so I went on YouTube and I followed the tutorial. And I was expecting it to be hard. I was expecting it to take so long. And then they're like, oh, just import this learning model and then do that and do this with NumPy. And then in less than 2 hours, I had a model that I could train and I was able to get predictions out of it. I'm like, this is amazing. So the other thing is the concept that it's very tedious, it's very time consuming. A lot of the hard work has already been done. And so we need to take advantage of that and see how we can build solutions on top of that.
Awesome. And well said. Well said. The idea of removing fear is actually quite critical. That's why, raising awareness, doing what we're doing is very important. And for us as a business, training people around AI awareness has been our big pillar. Because if people are fearful, they're just going to be pushing back for nothing, because they actually have no understanding. Let's move the conversation into AI and business.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing? How is AI impacting the business landscape?
Currently, AI is transforming businesses and industries through automation, data analysis, and improved decision making. It is used a lot in customer service, chatbots, so we see this a lot. Predictive analytics, where it looks at the past data and then makes predictions and says, okay, this would be great, this is likely to happen. So it helps with data-driven decision making. Also for inventory management, I remember when I was working for Mercedes-Benz, what we're doing was using AI to basically predict if you have an S-Class, for example, where you're probably registered to a particular garage. And so they know, for example, based on the data, maybe the gearbox or something may fail after maybe 7 years or 5 years or something like that. And so when your gearbox is about to give in, using the data that they've been taking, they pre-order your gearbox and send it to your garage. And so whatever parts you need are sent in advance. And so when you get to the garage, they have a guarantee that your car will be fixed within 12 hours. And for them to be able to meet that guarantee, they have to manage just-in-time delivery of services and parts using the data. We've also seen a lot of development in, especially in fintech spaces, where, like I mentioned earlier, it's used to now credit scoring, automatic loan-term generation. So there are a lot of ways in which it can be used. Most people now, regardless of the business they're in, to some extent use ChatGPT to productivity, help them write documents, to help them understand and do research. So there's many uses. Some of them may be inbuilt into the organization, but a lot of them are actually just Canva, for example, is what people are using now to make PowerPoints and videos and content, and so easy, so easily. And so you have a lot of people on a personal level taking on these tools to see how they can improve their productivity, but also companies are doing that as well. I imagine and I see a huge increase in that. And someone said, if you're in business and you're not using AI, you're going to be left behind because everybody is jumping on the bandwagon and seeing how they can use it to their benefit.
Actually, that is very true. People are so scared about, the fact that AI is coming to take away our jobs. So I saw a caption somewhere that said, your biggest threat is not AI taking away your job. The people who take the jobs from you are people who are able to use AI. And I thought this is actually very, very interesting, because people are so stuck with saying, AI is taking all our jobs. But if you don't have the skill sets that are needed for you to be able to work in an environment that is driven by AI, of course, the people who've got the skill sets who actually come and replace you. Let's move the conversation into just the future trends. What are you seeing? What are the future trends when it comes to AI? What are the predictions? What are people saying around the future of AI?
The future is bright. Machine learning, but at a deeper level. A deeper understanding of the subject matter, which helps with better outcomes and better predictions. Also reinforcement learning. So sometimes you create a system and you train it and it's working okay, but then it could be better. And so reinforcement learning is where now you use more data to train it more. So we're seeing a lot of reinforcement learning happening. You can see the difference in ChatGPT 3, is it 3 and ChatGPT 4? And it's because of the reinforcement learning. Because remember, I said for ChatGPT 3, it's using data that was trained on it up to, is it 2021? September 2021? And then now when you have ChatGPT 4 and you've got Bard, for example, they're able to get access to more information. So the more information you're able to use for training your systems, the better it becomes at predictions. The most widely used currently, the most trending is AI for healthcare, for diagnosis. So when you go to the hospital and they have to take all these tests and you need experts to look at it, and they take so long because there are so few of them and the workload is heavy. So there's a lot in image processing and video processing where basically AI can actually say in real time, this is what's happening here. This person is likely to have Parkinson's, or this is cancer. Even just suggestions on how to best treat it based on the actual situation. We have now AI-powered robots, which is nice, and a lot of augmented reality applications. But going into the future, I see more self-driving cars. I see more automation, which we're going to attribute to AI, and I'm looking forward to it.
I love your optimism of saying the future is bright. I love that. I love that. Let's look at data privacy. Um, People are very concerned about data privacy and just how AI is literally infiltrating every aspect of our lives. What are your thoughts around data privacy and AI?
Okay, so it is a very valid concern because, like we had said, that systems are defined by rules, the AI systems, and then you have to train them using data. And so a lot of people are particular about giving access to their data. And so when you have a system, first of all, you have to obtain informed consent from the providers of the data. And then you also have to adhere to strict privacy regulations to make sure that the data that you have is kept properly. There are strong security, it's not shared with the wrong people. Um, AI can impact data privacy through data collection and analysis. And we can't run away from the fact that we need the data, but we need to be very responsible in the way we use the data and where we keep it, and just make sure that it's safe to protect the owners of the data.
Wonderful, wonderful. Human-centric AI conversation is quite live at the moment. There's a lot of conversation around that. How can we foster a positive relationship between humans and AI, ensuring that AI technologies enhance human capabilities rather than replace them?
Mm-hmm. I would suggest that we find a hybrid space where we use the tools to enhance our capabilities and not replace them. There's a lot of things that AI can't do. There's a lot of things that are done by humans that cannot be replaced by AI. So we need to design systems that work in tandem with human expertise. So emphasizing user-friendly interfaces and also ensuring that AI decisions are explainable and understandable. But also, like you had said earlier, you had mentioned that AI is not taking our jobs. The ones that are going to take the jobs are people who are using AI. And so I feel like we need to have a healthy human AI collaboration relationship where we're able to see how we can use AI to leverage and improve our capabilities and save time so that you can use that time on other things as well, which AI can't do.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been a great conversation. You've brought a lot of value, and I know that when I had reached out to you to ask you to come on my podcast as a guest, you had also asked that you had suggested that you'd love to interview me, especially from the experiential point of view, because our company brings the actual AI and automation solutions to companies, to businesses. So yes, take it away. I am all yours. You're welcome to ask me the questions.
Okay. The first one is, please tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey on how you came to where you are now.
Absolutely. So, as you know, I'm the CEO for CompuConnect Education. This is a company that I started 15 years ago. I've got a teaching background. I'm a high school maths teacher, trained in Zambia, and I taught in Kitwe. I taught at an all-boys school, and I loved just teaching mathematics, to the boys those early years of my life. After a while, I then moved countries. I moved to Botswana, where I worked as a teacher for a short period of time. Then I transitioned into lecturing. And I must say, this is where the love for computers started. So when I transitioned into lecturing into a tertiary institution, where I was teaching. I was tasked with teaching mathematics and computer skills to technical students who were studying technical courses like your electrical engineering, your construction courses, and so on. I then just developed a love for computers because I knew that computers was the future. At the time, I also started studying for my MBA. And after, 2 years, I obtained my MBA. I moved countries. I came to South Africa. And once I had obtained my MBA, I thought, man, let me try something new in terms of my career path, moving away from my teaching career or my classroom teaching, even though I loved that, but I just wanted a new challenge. So I looked for a job, and the job that I landed was a software sales consultant in an edutech company. And because I was coming in with my teaching background, selling education software programs to the government, to the schools, to the parents, I did exceptionally well. And after being in that company for quite some time, I thought it was time for me to get started, to start my own business. Running my own company was always a passion of mine. It's something that was always at the back of my mind. That's why I went and studied an MBA. The end goal was for me to come and run my own business. And 15 years ago, I branched out. And when I started the company, we were purely an edutech company. So we sold education software programs. But over time, we have evolved as we got into the market. The market would then say, do you have this solution? And we would go and, relook at the solutions that we offer, and we would add some more solutions. We got into corporates when we started developing custom made learning management systems because the corporate then had caught up with training employees using digital platforms or online platforms. As we engaged and interacted, there was just more demand for other solutions. So today we resell artificial intelligence chatbots, we resell intelligent automations or robotic process automations. We resell Adobe products, your e-signatures and so on. We also resell hardware. We still sell our education software programs to schools and to governments as well. So that has been my career journey.
That's amazing. That's an amazing journey. And 15 years is a long time. Congratulations on keeping it going. I'm interested to know when you started with AI, because you mentioned that you'd have these requests coming in from, so your solutions basically were mostly influenced by what the clients wanted. But I'm just interested to know when you made your first AI application.
So we are resellers. So for the AI solutions, we don't develop any solutions, we resell. And this happened just about 2019 because we had quite a good number of corporate clients. The talk for artificial intelligence was just coming up and automations. And so, quite a number of big companies were looking into that. And then we started looking at opportunities to resell the solutions with developers overseas. And so we got the reselling licensing in 2019. And and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, it was just exponential growth in this area because now everybody was looking to automate. And the requests just kept escalating. And we just put more resource and more effort in selling the AI solutions.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing. And also a lot of people look at COVID and the pandemic and mostly focus on the negatives. I think there were also some positives that came out of it, and this is one of them. Another one is working remotely, because COVID forced us to stay home, but people still had to work. And then they discovered that actually people can work from home. Some people can even be more productive when they work from home than when they work at the office. So I'm excited about your growth. I'm excited about your company and what you're doing. I'm just curious to know, as a business owner and for someone who has a lot of experience in sales, what is the biggest challenge of onboarding clients who choose to implement intelligent automation?
So the biggest challenge that a lot of companies face, especially our clients, is just the change management process. So there's still a lot of resistance, and we just find that a lot of businesses or a lot of companies do not carry their employees along with them on their digital journey that they're on, because a lot of people are just thinking, well, digital transformation, it's the IT guys. And so when these IT guys bring these solutions to the marketing people do not own, the solution, because they haven't been part of the journey. And for us, that's why when we get into companies, our first point of departure is to actually implement a robust change management process, so that everybody's on board and everybody is part of the journey. And by the time you're starting to implement, people are all well informed, and people then can be able to leverage these solutions to the full potential.
Okay. No, that's great. And I like your approach. I'm doing a bit of software development and software project management, and I see what you mean when you say if people don't have ownership, if they've not taken part in the process, they tend to avoid the systems. And so inclusive development is very important. Also, to understand how the systems work properly. A lot of I worked on one project where we automated a lot of the HR processes and finance processes, and there was so much resistance because people were scared and said, "Oh, we are scared that if we launch the system, then we're going to lose our jobs." But it was actually just transitioning them from the paper-based solutions to now having it digitally. So the same things they were doing on paper, now they can do it digitally. They can fill in the data, they can get their reports and all that. And so ownership is very important. I'm interested to know could you give me like one of your favorite success stories for one of the clients where you implemented AI solutions for them and it worked to their benefit?
Yes, so the one that will always stand out for me is when we automated the payment process, the salary payment process for one of our clients who is a government entity. So by automating that process, we were able to remove a lot of human touch points, and that then uncovered a lot of ghost workers that were embedded in the system, because people had actually created fictitious accounts where they would actually, put money of people who didn't exist in the organization. So when we went and automated, because now the automated systems have to verify all these accounts and all these systems, we're able to unearth a lot of ghost workers. And
what advice would you give to companies that want to get started with AI?
So the first point of departure before people can think about AI is always, what is their pain points? Okay, so people should not, implement AI for the sake of implementing AI. people need to be very clear about what their pain points are. And once they've discovered what the pain points are, then they can actually start mapping out the different solutions or the different options that they can get into. And once they've then settled to say, okay, given our situation here, for example, if customer experience is one of the big problems that we are facing here, we need an AI chatbot. So you start with the problem, then you go to the solution. So yeah, my recommendation is always start with the pain points, then map out options, and then contact the service providers that can support you to actualize, the vision that you have or the problem that you're trying to solve.
That's amazing. Someone had said when you're developing, you have to start with the low-hanging fruits. What is it that's most important? So I think I'm going to copy that also in my own work, because it would lead to even enhance customer satisfaction, because you're starting with solving the most pertinent problem first, and then you're iteratively solving the other problems that they have as well. Now, just my last question, curious to know, what are your favorite AI tools?
Yes, so I use AI tools all the time. So one of my favorite one, because I'm a content creator, is ChatGPT. So I use a lot of ChatGPT. I use QtBot. It's like your Grammarly. I also use Canva a lot because I produce content. I use Google Maps all the time. I live in Joburg, and whenever I'm going to places, I'm always using a Google Maps. So those are my commonly used AI solutions. I also enjoy the experience that I get from Netflix. Because I'm not so much a TV person, I love to watch things that are targeted. So the fact that it's able to sort out for me and send me, specific programs that I would be keen on has actually been very helpful. Once I receive that message, I'm like, oh, okay, so now I can watch because this is of interest to me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I love Netflix also. And for music, I started using Spotify, and I've realized that now they've actually improved the Spotify by creating something they call Spotify DJ. So it's a music streaming platform. And so what the DJ does, they know the songs you've liked. They know how many times you've listened to each song in the past month, like what are you currently interested in? And so the DJ talks to you, but he also plays you songs that he thinks you'd like, especially like the different songs you play in the morning, the different songs you play in the evening, at night, like that. And so depending on the time of the day, your DJ basically dynamically chooses songs for you. And it's funny because it keeps on saying, like I told you, I pay attention. And I'm like, this is AI. And so I'm seeing a lot of businesses are actually taking advantage of the fact that they have so much data, and then they're seeing how they can use that data to improve the customer experience. I also use Canva a lot. As a small business owner, I used it to develop the labels for my stuff, presentations, pitch decks, explainer videos. For someone who can't really draw really well, like me, I can come up with illustrations and be able to clearly express a concept properly and easily. Google Maps is also one of my favorites because I remember when I was in the UK, I bought a car and then I had to take it to the port. And everyone's like, oh my God, how are you going to go? You need to hire a driver. I said, but I am a driver. They're like, no, but you don't know how to drive in the UK. I said, we'll drive the same side as Zambia, but you won't know where to turn. I say, Google Maps. And I put Google Maps in, and it took me all the way straight to the point. Then, get off at this highway, get on at this junction, do this, do that. And so we have a lot of tools that are quite helpful for us. And like you, I'm also not a TV person. I stopped watching TV a long time ago because I didn't like being a slave to the program lineup where they're like, oh, you have to be awake at this
Yeah,
time to watch
exactly.
that kind of stuff. And there was old stuff they were putting and a lot of repeats. But then, and then you watch an episode of, let's say, Isidingo or Generations, and you have to wait a week or for another one, or you have to wait for the next day for the next one, that kind of a thing. And sometimes the season will just stop and leave you hanging for some months and then come back when they feel like. And so now with having all that content curated and you can watch at your own pace in your own time, that's really nice. And I've also noticed the recommendations that are coming are more like me. So the more I use Netflix, the more likely I am going to like what they're actually suggesting for me, because I'm actually paying attention to what I like and what I don't like. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience with AI so far. And now the last question. I know I promised that was the last question, but the last question. What do you think would be our biggest danger when it comes to AI?
Is that individually or as a continent?
No, like
in what?
the biggest risk, because we have, obviously there's all these benefits, but then we also can't ignore the doomsday. So saying AI is to, take over.
Yeah, so there's quite a number of risks, that come with the use of AI. So one of them, as you know, is the job market shifting. That is a big risk that we sit with, and if people have not been reskilled, we're going to have a challenge, right? Because we don't have the skill sets that are required for people to actually be able to add value. So, I worry about unemployment, to be honest, especially within the African context, because, we sit with unemployment challenges. People are still don't even have the basics of education, let alone this new dispensation that we are entering into. For me, that's the one thing that I worry about the most. And I think that's quite a big pain point that we need to solve. And for us, that's why we're actually very committed to upskilling the workforce within the African continent. The other risk is loneliness. I think, if you think about, you lived in the UK, envision a future where there's no one to even sell you the tickets, when you go to the train station, because all these things are automated. So really, I worry about isolation and people just feeling lonely, because everything, all the places where there used to be human interaction will have removed the human interaction, because the machines are the ones that are doing all this work. So for me, those are the two risks that come top mind. The challenge of unemployment, and just over reliance on machines, that then brings loneliness, and also continuous connectivity, right? Because you're so dependent on the machines to give you information. You continuously connected, which then might start impacting people's mental health as well. Yeah, those are the things that I can think about.
Okay, no, that's brilliant. That's amazing. And just follow up on that. When developing these systems, what normally would you do in the upskilling of the employees?
So, one of the things that we currently aggressively doing is that we are running AI workshops throughout the continent, and the idea is to go in every African continent. We've started with Zambia, we currently, adding on to a second country that we are considering. So it's just going out there and giving people new skill sets that enable them to be relevant in the new work dispensation that they find themselves in. So we encourage really companies to create budgets for their people so that their people can be reskilled. But also at an individual level, I keep saying people should not wait for the government or the organizations to come and skill you. Reskill yourself. And now information has been so much democratized. Like you were saying, you could go to YouTube and get new skill sets. You were able to learn, how to put together an AI model just by sitting for 2 hours and watching a YouTube video. There's a lot of free webinars that are out there that people can listen to, and just also a lot of free courses online that people can take. And also very cheap courses as well that are online. So I think it's just this proactivity of people, reskilling themselves so that they remain relevant in the workforce.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you're doing a lot of incredible work. So I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you have more questions for me.
Okay, so yes, it's been such a great conversation. I've enjoyed conversing with you. Do you have any closing remarks for our listeners?
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to this podcast. This has been amazing. It's been informative. I've learned a lot. And I'm a serial optimist. I always believe in positive and hope for positive outcomes. And so when we weigh the pros and cons for AI, we have more pros than we have cons. And so focusing on the pros, AI is a transformative technology with profound implications for society. It offers us numerous benefits, but also requires careful considerations of its ethical and societal impact. We need to find a way to strike a balance between AI's capabilities and potential risks as we move forward to make sure we're making responsible AI solutions that provide help and that do good and not harm.
Thank you so much, and well said. Thank you just for sharing so much valuable insights and just sharing your journey and all the good work that you're doing. Please keep it up, especially the teaching of the little ones. I think we need to invest a lot of our time and resources in that age group as well. And that's how we're going to have to solve the skills gap that we currently sit with in Africa. It's when we start training the kids as young as preschool, let's introduce them to AI models, coding and robotics, so that, there is interest as they grow up. But yeah, no, thank you so much, and wishing you a great day.
Thank you so much. Have a great day too.
Thank you.